Today we're going to talk about the next frontier on Republicans' war on women beyond overturning Roe, and I interview Senator Chris Murphy about leading the effort to get the new gun law legislation passed, what to do about the popular provisions that didn't make it into that bill, and his response to Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene who tried to block this from becoming law. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen, and you're listening to No Lie. So by now I'm sure you've heard the story of a 10-year-old child who had to travel from Ohio to Indiana for an abortion, an almost textbook example of what Democrats warned would happen if Roe was overturned, while Republicans said we were being hysterical. It took like 5 minutes for that to come to fruition. But that inadvertently led to the next frontier of this fight, which is the ability for Americans to travel freely from one state to another for reproductive care. So that if you live in a state where it's banned, at a bare minimum, you'll be able to travel to a state where it's not to receive the care that you need. Cut to the latest vote in Congress, where bills were introduced in both the House and the Senate that would protect Americans' right to travel across state lines to receive reproductive care, which, by the way, should be a given. Like, we're talking about taking preventative action here to ensure that Americans can travel within America to get care that they want. The idea that we need legislation protecting your right to travel freely in this country is already just unto itself just dark. But here's what's worse. In the Senate, where Democrats tried to pass this bill with unanimous consent, it was immediately blocked by Oklahoma Republican James Lankford. And in the House, of the 208 Republicans who voted, 205 of them opposed that bill. To be clear, 205 Americans voted against the right of an American to be able to travel to another state in America. There was an ad that my friends over at Midas Touch put together a month or two ago that you might have seen, where a couple of cops pull over a car and there's two women in there and they're super nervous, and the cop asks one of them if she's pregnant, and the woman freaks out and the cop rips her out of the car. And I thought that ad was great, and Republicans just decided that it was Democrats being hysterical. And then immediately after claiming that Democrats are being hysterical, 99% of elected Republicans in Congress go on record basically saying, yeah, no, that ad is pretty much exactly what we're going for. And I mean, just think about like the mechanics of this. You block interstate travel for reproductive care. You station cops at the border of each state to administer pregnancy tests? These are the small government people hard at work making sure that you carry your government mandated pregnancy to term. And here's the thing, we see this, the whole country sees this, and it's horrifying, right? Like, let's remember, 70% of Americans support Roe. This is some far-right Christo-fascist stuff that we're watching happen right now. This is the stuff that we watched in The Handmaid's Tale, and we were like, it's a bit close to home, but it was always just, a little bit too much, a little bit too farcical, and so it kind of was still fine as a piece of fiction, but like, now it's not. But Republicans are still plowing forward because they don't think they'll be held accountable. And they put a lot of pieces in place to ensure that they won't be held accountable. We have gerrymanders in states like Florida that come pretty damn close to handing the Republican Party the House. I mentioned a few weeks back that the Supreme Court is hearing Moore versus Harper. That's the case that would prevent state courts or governors from acting as a check against state legislators who draw gerrymandered maps, meaning that we could see insane gerrymanders in states, swing states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin with zero recourse. We already have voter suppression laws on the books in states like Texas and Georgia. Our only tool here comes this November, where we hold the House and expand our Senate majority by 2 seats and then start codifying some laws and expand the court. We need abortion protections codified. We need voting rights protections codified. We need anti-gerrymandering legislation codified. That all has to happen this November. Because if the Supreme Court starts handing Republicans some more wins, Democrats won't even have the chance to win back these states once Republicans are finished entrenching their majorities. So look, I know that this stuff is dire. I know that it seems hopeless. I know that it feels like bad news all the time. But just remember, we are on the right side of these issues. These are issues that unite Democrats and divide Republicans. That's where we want to be. They went off the rails with abortion bans and book bans and LGBT bans and voter suppression, and we'll probably see same-sex marriage on the chopping block next. People see this. They are paying attention. They recognize the importance of taking power away from these people. But with that said, just remember that this is not a job for someone else to take care of. This requires all of us. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Find the people in your circle, your friends, your family, your neighbors, someone who just turned 18 or 19 or 20, someone who doesn't pay attention to politics, someone who considers themselves more in the middle. Find those people and make sure that they know the stakes in November. And if they say that Democrats aren't meeting their expectations or that Joe Biden isn't being strong enough, remind them what's at stake if it's not Democrats, if it's not Joe Biden in office. Remind them what would happen if Republicans took control. We would see national abortion bans, even in cases of rape or incest. We would see contraception banned. We would see same-sex marriage and sodomy and anything that doesn't comport with their religious views banned. You're not voting for Joe Biden this November. This is not a referendum on Biden. This is our last shot to save abortion rights. It's our last shot to expand the court. That's what's on the ballot. So ignore the people on the right and the people on the left who think that now is some time for a protest vote or to express their dissatisfaction with Biden. We will worry about Biden in 2 years when he's on the ballot, but what's in front of us right now is so much more important. The good news is I think that people are finally waking up to exactly that. To listen to my interview with Chris Murphy, where we talk about him leading the effort to get new gun legislation passed, what to do about the popular provisions that didn't make it into this bill, and his response to Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene who tried to block this from becoming law, click the thumbnail right here on this screen or check out the interviews playlist on my YouTube channel.